Well, good afternoon and welcome back to Random Thoughts. Yes, we're back. It's been a crazy couple of weeks with traveling issues and the like, and I do try to get a Random Thoughts episode done every Thursday. So today's being Thursday and traveling has been settling down. We're not quite traveling as much, so it's time to kind of get right back into it under the practical side of Christianity. Today we're going to talk about possessions. Today we're going to talk about what are they. We're going to talk about possessions, especially in relationship to other people's. So as we live out these wonderful works that God has created for us to do, like he says in Ephesians 2, chapter 2, verse 10, he has preordained all these works for us to do, and as we've been going into this little mini segment of Random Thoughts, we've been going through the context of what does my life look like doing these preordained wonderful things according to God's commands. So that's where we're at today. So it's going to all about possessions, keeping ours, not taking somebody else's. And wait for it, helping them keep their own possessions. We'll look right into that right after this. Several weeks of quote-unquote missing in action with Random Thoughts, I thought we would kind of do a little group recap. We've already talked about what does God want me to do, the practical side of my life as a Christian person in context of those things that he had set up for us to do in advance. We've already talked about having a relationship with God. He is the first and foremost. There are no other gods. There are no nothing else. He is it. We honor his name. We honor who he is, his identification. And name is a wonderful identification marker. I'll get my mouth to work today. And we honor his day, his opportunity to spend time with him. We designate time with him. That's the practical side of being a Christian, dedicating time with God. Then we're getting into the relationships with other people. In what God has ordained for us to do. Well, you shall honor your father and your mother. How do we interact with our parental units along with those who are in authority over us? We looked at the context of murder, of life, the identification of what life is, and how even in the context of our own minds, taking a life, with the anger thing. If you want to go back and review, please go back and review all the previous videos. Just kind of keep you up to date where we're at. Last time we talked about the new life that God has given to us in the context of marriage and that physical intimacy between a man and a woman who are husband and wife. And that's where that belongs. That's where it stays. That's where it is, especially in the context of us as Christian people. All right, now, that leads us all into today where we're going to be. And today has to do with possessions. Now, in the context of thou shalt not steal, the classic understanding of thou shalt not steal is, let's say, for example, I have this coffee mug, and somebody wants to take my coffee mug from me. That's a classic understanding of stealing. How about a person who says, you know what? I have got this great investment for you. You can't help but make money, and you go into it and you lose everything. Also add into it now, and there are a lot of people I know have been dealing with this loss by the hands of somebody else. The loss of their identity theft. These are things, in the modern era, 30, 40 years ago, before computers and internet, the loss of who I was would be astronomical. I'm seeing TV commercials about people who are stealing your home from you by means of taking out all these mortgages and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden you've lost your house because you've got all these mortgages on your house. It's bizarre how people have created new ways in order to steal, to take something that from you. And the interesting thing about stealing, about taking possessions from somebody, it's about, well, it's about what can I do for me? And I look at what somebody else has over there, and that person's got something I want. Well, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to connive, I'm going to bribe, I'm going to bully, I'm going to just outright take it from underneath their nose, I'm going to scheme just to get something that I want that somebody else has. Oh, and by the way, that has a lot to do with another couple of commandments we're going to tackle in a few weeks. More on that later. But it's interesting, that's how God doesn't want us to act. He does not want us to act in taking something away from somebody else. You know, it belongs to them. God has given it to them. They have earned the income in order to provide for their families, all this other stuff. It's theirs, not yours. And God is saying that is right, and you have no right to take it from them. Stealing is a bad, bad thing. And I remember one time I was working way back in the day. I was working in a local department store growing up, and this one couple was talking to me about being in Africa or Asia somewhere overseas, and somebody tried to steal his watch. And they caught him, and there happened to be a police officer there, and they said, "Police officer, come over here, come over here, come over here." And the police officer, "Yes." "Well, this guy stole my watch." "Is that your watch he's holding on to?" "Yes, it is." The police officer takes a watch from the thief, gives it back to the person, pulls out the machete. Whew, off went the hand. Street justice. I mean, I'm not advocating we go do street justice. Neither is God, for that matter. But what God is saying, I want you to fear and love me, that you honor other people's possessions. And so let's take a look at how Martin Luther explains how we follow the commandment. He says here in the 7th commandment, you shall not steal. He says this. What does this mean? We should fear and love God so that we do not take our neighbor's money or possessions or get them in any dishonest way. Talked about those in a few moments ago. But here's the positive side of how we obey this commandment. But help him to improve and protect his possessions and income. In other words, our life as Christians is not about not doing something, not taking something from someone else, but helping someone. Let's say, for example, you know somebody who has fallen on hard times. He's not been able to work in the last 6 months. He's about to lose his house. He's about to lose this. He's about to lose that. They're in the middle of a conundrum. What do you do? Well, perhaps you are the organizing person and you organize a giant fundraising thing, like, for example, you use a GoFundMe account kind of thing, and you help raise money to help this man and his family keep their house. Or you help this man by finding a job, or you help this man by giving him a job, whatever the situation. But these are examples of a positive way of following the commandment that God calls us to do. This is just one example. There are many examples of how we can positively help other people maintain their possession. We can perhaps, if we find out about a scheme that somebody is cooking up to steal against someone, what do? We call the cops. That's how you help somebody who may lose everything. The bottom line is God provides possessions to people, houses, homes, cars, incomes, all kinds of things. I mean, God provides these things for people. And God does not want us not only to take them, they don't belong to us, they're not ours. God has given us our own possessions. And it doesn't matter whether, hey, so-and-so's got so much and I don't have as much, and I'm getting jealous and I'm getting covetous. Oops, I gave it away. Anyway, be satisfied with what you have. God says that too. Be satisfied with what you have. Doesn't matter whether or not I gave somebody else something different. Makes no difference. Just be satisfied with what you've got. Fear and trust in God. Because God provides everything you need. God cares for you. You may not have it all. There may be some human disappointment, but confess that to God. Say to God, I'm sorry for being selfish. I'm sorry for being not satisfied. Forgive me and give me the strength to not only to maintain what I've got, to do what I can, and not to take something from somebody else. What do you think? Let me know. Comment below, and we'll get in touch with you in another video or another time. All right, so that's it on this practical side of Christianity. We're looking forward to hearing from you and talking to you very soon, especially on Sunday. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.